The biggest problem with every UFC weight class. In 2024, the UFC has seen many great moments and spectacular fights. Despite this, there are still issues with each weight class, some more prominent than others, and some shouldn't be happening at all. There's 11 divisions in the UFC right now, which means I have 11 things that grind my gears. So let's talk about it. Alright, so first up is the women's strawweight division. Now, my biggest gripe with this one is just going to be like the other women's divisions, is that there's just a lack of star power or fun fighters and exciting matchups. The other dominant forces of this division, Rose Namajunas moved up a weight class, Carla Esparza retired, and Joanna Jędrzejczyk got knocked into retirement by Zhang Weili. So there's just not that many fun fighters in this division anymore. You have someone like Tatiana Suarez, who's undefeated and the number one contender, that could be a problem, or at the very least be a fun matchup and a new face. But is this one fight going to make or break the division? I don't think so. It does what it does without problem, and that's it. Moving on. Alright, so next up is women's flyweight division. Similarly to the strawweight, it's just very lackluster. I mean, you have Alexa Grasso and Shevchenko, whose rivalry has been very entertaining, fun fights, near finishes in both fights, and their trilogy is set to conclude next weekend. But I mean, other than that, they are carrying this division so hard on their back. You have Manon Fiorot, Blanchfield, and Namajunas. But in terms of what gets me super excited to watch this division, it just doesn't, you know? And also you have Jessica Andrade ranked 6th in this division, so it's like, I'm just going to kind of clump these two weight classes together and move on to bantamweight, who has a different issue. Alright, women's bantamweight. My biggest issue with this one is they're all fighting for second place. I mean, Amanda Nunes held that belt for so long, and then she finally lost it to Juliana Pena because she had a bum knee, had COVID, blah, 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 blah. She came back, dominated her, made her have to get plastic surgery to fix her face. That's how bad she beat her. They're all fighting for second place. I mean, Raquel Pennington versus Juliana Pena is the next fight slated for a championship fight in this division. So it just sucks when the champion never actually got to fight the last champion to prove who is the best. But you might have a interesting challenge with Kayla Harrison, fresh face in the division, good skills, might pose some problems, might get Amanda Nunes back into the division. You never know. The division wasn't doing too well whenever Nunes was about to leave, but now that she's gone, it just sucks. There's no face of the division, and maybe Kayla Harrison could change that. Who knows? Moving on to the men's divisions.
I'm a protector!
Alright, so the problem with flyweight is that there's just a lack of contenders available for Alexandre Pantoja to fight. This man wants to remain active, but he's already beaten number 9 Manal Kopp, number 8 Steve Erceg, number 6 Alex Perez, number 4 Kai Kara France, number 2 Brandon Moreno 3 different times, and then number 1 Brandon Royval twice. So there's just a lack of contenders for this man to fight. You had someone interesting like Mohamed Mokaev, who was working his way up the rankings before he decided to go and fight everyone before he was fighting, and then not fight when he was fighting and get himself cut from the promotion. So you have someone like Tatsuro Taira working his way up the rankings also, but he's only highly ranked because Alex Perez blew out his knee during their fight. So is it deserved? I don't know. He's fighting again soon, so we'll see.
What a stupid accident.
It's just Henry Cejudo. Moving on.
This old man's got some swag, you know?
And now for our
Honestly, it's the fact that this picture is real and not AI generated. Other than that, this division really has no issue. There's good, fun fighters spread throughout the top 15, and the big 3 of the division, Topuria, Volk, and Holloway, make this weight class pretty fun. They're leagues ahead of the next batch of fighters, Brian Ortega and Yair Rodriguez, and those two also beat everyone else below them. So really, it's just all the Ilia Topuria fans going after Alexander Volkanovski for his loss, and just Volkanovski being sad, bruh. That's all I really care about.
Holloway just told him, stand right here. Oh, big connection late.
Alright, lightweight. My biggest problem with this division is Max Holloway being ranked 9 after beating Justin Gaethje, who was ranked 3rd. Makes no sense. Why is that even a thing? I don't get why this man is ranked 9th. He should be ranked freaking 1st. That being said, lightweight's my absolute favorite division out of the entire UFC. Every top 15 fighter, even outside the top 15, are absolute killers. You got people like BSD ranked 12th, Paddy Pimblett 15th on the come up. You got fighters like Gaethje, Poirier, now Max Holloway. Dan Hooker's on the resurgence. It's an absolutely stellar division. Nothing to complain about other than Max Holloway not getting the ranking he deserves. Baby, wake up, it's 2024 and Bilal Muhammad is champ. What happened to the game I love with Usman being champ instead of this crybaby over here? But no, I'm just kidding. Kinda. I guess everybody's got to remember this fool's name now, huh? So the issue with the welterweight division then is the inactivity of contenders. Before beating Leon Edwards last month, Bilal Muhammad sat out for 13 months. Of course, he deserves rest now that he's the champion, but it seems to be a trend from these welterweight fighters of sitting out and waiting. Everyone's favorite American, Colby Covington, fought 4 times this decade, 2 of them being title shots and the other 2 being against now retired Tyron Woodley and his former best friend Jorge Masvidal. Before fighting Leon for his 3rd career title shot, Covington sat out for 21 months after beating Gamebred and then losing to him in the streets. Usman has not fought in the welterweight division for 18 months and is coming off of 3 losses and is trying to get a title shot against Bilal Muhammad now. The other man trying to get a title shot and who probably should get it is the Mountain Man, Shavkat Rakhmonov, who has not competed since his bout against Wonderboy back in December of 2023. Not as bad as the others, but as a fan it sucks to see fighters on the sidelines for so long, and by the time Bilal Muhammad is able to turn around, it's probably going to be over a year. In the year of 2021, the welterweight division saw 3 title fight bangers, and this year, 2024, so far just 1. The top 5 are kind of lame for just sitting around expecting title shots for accomplishments from years ago. It can, like waterlog the division and make it so that no new talent have opportunities to compete in high-ranked fights. I don't even know how Colby Covington is ranked for as much as he fights and hardly wins. Moving on.
I rip my gloves off. I run at you like this. No. So you drop my cigarette. What's going on?
First of all, I'm black. I'm truly black. I ain't dropping nothing, all right? Like that. Deshaun Strickland, y'all. Deshaun Strickland.
All right, this division finally seems to be moving along now that Pereira and Izzy are like kind of cast-offs. Not cast off, but they're not in the title conversation right now. Strickland got in Izzy's head and took the belt away from him, and then Dricus du Plessis showed him who the real African king was. There's some fun matchups in this division waiting to happen, unless your name's Robert Whittaker.
No way, it's the immortal Rob Whittaker.
When it comes crashing down,
What?
Robert Whittaker's next bout will be against Khamzat Chimaev at UFC 308, hopefully. I say this because Khamzat has basically been given 5 number 1 contender fights back to back to back. The first being against Gilbert Burns in the welterweight division, but unfortunately 4 months after that fight, Leon Edwards would pull a head kick out of his butt that changed literally everything, and his trilogy with Usman would have to happen, meaning Khamzat would have to wait for his title shot. In the meantime, the UFC would give Khamzat an alley-oop to further his star power against a prime contender of the division, 37-year-old Nathan Diaz. Psych! Khamzat missed weight by 8 pounds and every fight was reshuffled, and now his new opponent would be Kevin Holland, whom he ragdolled and submitted within like 2 minutes. This will ruin an event for the entire UFC and would be forced to move up to the middleweight division, and would be given Paulo Costa, who was ranked like 5 or 6 at the time I think, before he ended up having bursitis in his elbow and having to pull out. On 9 days notice, from America to Abu Dhabi, which takes like a whole day to travel, Kamaru Usman would fill in and fight Khamzat Chimaev up a division. Personally, I don't even think this should have been a win for Khamzat. I think it should have been a draw. But whatever, Khamzat gets to fight Robert Whittaker next, right? Nope. This time, Khamzat Chimaev pulls out of his fight against Bobby Knuckles on 6 days' notice, and Ikram Aliskerov would fill in and get KO'd for him in like 2 minutes. I can see the UFC's vision of having a killer like Chimaev as the champion of maybe multiple weight divisions, but they just have to understand also that he's super unreliable and is irritating to the fans. I mean, look at this. It should have been Sean versus Rob.
Come to that.
Shama. Alright, I think Alex Pereira in the last year or 2 has become one of everyone's favorite active fighters, and he has earned that from being an elite finishing machine who will fight basically anyone, anytime. Problem is, though, Magomed Ankalaev also earned his title shot. So why is Khalil Roundtree fighting Poatan instead? Khalil Roundtree's best win is Anthony Smith, who Magomed already beat. Magomed in his last fight slumped Johnny Walker, and look what Johnny Walker did to Khalil Roundtree. It's just unfortunate for Khalil to skip the line as the number 8 contender when the number 1 contender is fighting just a month after them. Oh well, hopefully they fight at some point, but right now it sucks.
I gotta give thanks to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ!
Alright, I think the moderately educated fan would know that the biggest problem with the heavyweight division is that Jon Jones and the UFC as a promotion are choosing to defend the heavyweight championship against Stipe Miocic and not Tom Aspinall, their literal interim heavyweight champion. How are they skipping over him, and how is Dana White saying he's working his way up? The UFC released a promo on Dana White's Contender Series about the stats and accomplishments of Jon Jones, and just now my new issue is the levels that they go to glaze this man, especially Dana White.
Jon Jones is the baddest fighter to ever live. Ever. In any combat. Jon Jones is absolutely positively the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. Probably the greatest fighter of all time in any sport. This fucking guy destroyed the best heavyweight in the division. Easily made it look like nothing. Put two guys in a room, and who walks out? Jon Jones walks out of the fucking room every time. Jon Jones is the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world and the greatest fighter fucking ever. Period. End of story.
I just don't get why Dana White is going so hard against this, because everyone already acknowledges that Jon Jones is the greatest of all time, just not pound for pound #1 right now, right?
When you think about what pound for pound really means, Jon Jones beat everybody at light heavyweight, then beat the best heavyweight in the division.
Just let Jon fight Stipe already, so that Tom Aspinall can come in, shut this man up, and never hear about who really is pound for pound #1 when everyone already knows it's Makhachev. Alright then, you freaks, that's it for today's list. Dana White says that I'm the #1 pound for pound YouTuber on the website, so make sure you head kick that subscribe button and elbow that like button. I'll talk to y'all later.